Hello and welcome. Have you ever just stopped and wondered what makes you, you? All the little quirks, your personality, your habits, where did it all come from? Well, that's one of life's biggest questions, isn't it? In this explainer, we're going to unpack that very question through the lens of developmental psychology. So let me ask you this, straight up. Are you the exact same person you were 5 years ago? I mean, think about it for a second. In some ways, yeah, probably. You feel like you. But in other ways, you've probably changed a ton. And that very tension is right at the heart of what we're talking about today, this incredible journey of human development. All right, so to make sense of this super complex journey, developmental psychologists have kind of framed their research around a few core, long-standing questions. You can think of them as the three big debates that help us piece together the puzzle of who we are. Let's dive into the first one. Is your fundamental personality, your temperament, your core traits, is that stuff basically set when you're young, or are you constantly evolving, always a work in progress? This brings us to the debate of stability versus change. So let's break this down. The stability argument suggests that who you are early on is a pretty good predictor of who you'll be later. The shy kid, for instance, often becomes a more reserved adult. But the change perspective says, hold on, life happens. New jobs, new relationships, big challenges. All these things are constantly reshaping us. So that shy kid could totally become a competent public speaker. So here's the crucial point. It's not really an either-or thing. The real question that psychologists are asking is how much of you stays the same and how much is open to change as you go through life. It's this really dynamic balance. And that leads us perfectly into our next big question. And this one is probably the most famous debate in all of psychology. Are your talents, your smarts, your personality, are they all determined by your DNA from day one? Or are they shaped by your environment, your parents, the culture you grew up in? Yup, this is the classic nature versus nurture debate. Nature is your biological blueprint, basically, the genetic hand you were dealt. And nurture, well, that's everything else. The family that raised you, the schools you went to, the friends you made, it's your entire lived experience. And this is where modern psychology has really landed. It's not a simple battle of one versus the other. It's more like an intricate dance. Think of it this way. Your genes might give you a predisposition for being a great musician, but it's your environment, whether you ever get your hands on a guitar and get some encouragement, that often determines if that potential ever becomes a reality. Okay, on to our final big debate. This one is all about the pattern of development itself. Do we grow and change in this gradual, smooth way over time, or does it happen in big, distinct leaps? I really love this comparison. Think of continuous development as walking up a long, smooth ramp. It's just a slow, steady, gradual ascent. Discontinuous development, though, is more like climbing a staircase. You hang out on one step for a while, and then, bam, you make a sudden jump to a completely new level, like when a kid learns to walk or starts talking. So this debate really asks us to think about the rhythm of our own lives. Was your journey from childhood to now a gentle slope, or was it more like a series of distinct stages? Toddler, kid, teenager, adult, where each one felt like its own unique world? So we've got these three huge, fascinating questions, but how in the world do researchers actually go about answering them? Well, they've got a toolkit with some really clever methods for studying people over time. The two main tools in the kit are cross-sectional and longitudinal studies. Okay, so a cross-sectional study is the fast and efficient way. You could, say, test the memory of a group of 20-year-olds, 40-year-olds, and 60-year-olds all in the same week. A longitudinal study, on the other hand, is the long game. You'd find a group of 20-year-olds and then test their memory every 10 years until they're 60. This is the perfect way to think about it. A cross-sectional study gives you a snapshot in time. It shows you what different age groups look like at one specific moment. It's super quick, it's efficient, and it gives you a fantastic overview. And in contrast, a longitudinal study is like a movie of someone's life. You get to follow the same characters for years, maybe even decades, to see exactly how they change and develop. It takes way more time and resources for sure, but man, it gives you an incredibly rich, detailed story of how a person evolves. Okay, so we've looked at the big debates and the tools psychologists use to explore them, but why does any of this actually matter to you? Well, because understanding these concepts gives you a really powerful new lens to see your own life and the lives of everyone around you. So if you take away one thing, let it be this. We are all on a lifelong journey of development, and that journey is shaped by this amazing interplay of our stable traits and our ability to change. It's guided by both our genetic blueprint and our life experiences, and it unfolds in a pattern that might be gradual or it might happen in big leaps. These ideas aren't just for a textbook. They're a framework for understanding the human story, your story. Which brings us to a final thought. Now that you have this basic toolkit, you know the core debates, you know the research methods, I want you to think about your own life story. If you could design a study about your own development, what's the one question you would most want to answer?